because it feels like I'm going into the tail of the game, right? The final big train came out, companies have crashed, whatever. Um, but there's a lot of bank. There's multiple operating rounds coming. And it's not just that long tail that an XX game has. It's pretty clear that, some of these players are going to be starting companies and doing some big stuff with them. So, this game defies expectations in so many ways, which you can say good, bad, whatever. I don't know. I like the twist aspect of it. If it honestly, if it weren't for the early front loading of the problems in terms of like making life so difficult, I'm enjoying the difficulty at this point with two players knocked out of the game. I don't mind that at all. What I did mind was one player, one of the two that were knocked out, basically getting hammered on, the first operating round. The Akragas pays out its 30, buys a share back, which will give it some more money so it can buy another share back, eventually. It's not gonna make it next time, I don't think. 155, 165, 175, and we're going to be at 198 next time. So we may have trouble, but it's an investment. It's going to make more money if I buy it than if I don't. And I didn't have enough cash on hand to buy the R6H, so goodies. To the Lily Bio, which is actually the next company now. This is interesting. I don't have 1100. 6, 9, 75, 85, 993. That's $7 off. I wonder if I shorted myself $100. But it's not going to make a difference either way. All the shares are gone. There's no way for me to get money back in my treasury under those circumstances. Now, I could swallow, and I could buy myself that 16H. What does that do for me? Well, not much. Because the R6H can hit Palermo again, which is what I really need. So I think I'm okay with that, and that'll give me more money to develop the run that I want to make off of that. What is that run going to be? Well, right now the 10H is making this little run up to the port. That's great. What is the 6H going to do? Or the R6H? That can come here 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I buy narrow track, I got tons of money and I can blast through that really hefty stuff. Sounds good to me. If I don't want to hit these 20 buckers, I might be able to do a little better. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know what from there. I mean 5, but it's going to take some work to get to there for 6. And what are we talking about? This, you don't clear the terrain by building the first track, and it's reasonable. It's also a painful thing. You have to pay it multiple times. So if I wanted to hook this thing up and make this quick run for easy money early, well, so what was I looking at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this could get up, let's say 30, 40, 50, 90. 100, 120, maybe 250, whatever, 120 extra. Whereas if I'm doing it this way, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would get me, I don't know what I was saying, 30, 40, 50, 70, 80, somewhere in there. Now what was this again? 20. Oh yeah, 10. What was I talking about? 10, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 60, 70, 80, 90. And I'm not gonna get it right away. I think I'm gonna blast down towards there. I have a dot too, which could be useful. First of all, other companies may be more valuable, and those yellow shares may end up there, and I can buy them back and maybe leverage that somehow. But that's long-term and amorphous and probably not doing anything. But I can't upgrade this. There are no more pieces that do that. There's just a couple of them. All right, on to the purchase of the 16H finally. By upgrading Messina, I'm able to get myself up to a 32 a share run. Nice big money coming in. And on top of that, I buy the train. It doesn't destroy anything. I don't like it when the last train doesn't destroy stuff. I don't know. It feels like the earlier part is really, the trains really get crushed easily, and now we come to this happy fun time when there's $350 trains out there. They may not be what you want, but they change the nature of things. Alrighty. Is the number of non-trivial calculations, decisions, etc. that you have to make. So right now, I'm on the Acrigus. Now, every company has been making decision after decision on what it can do. But, you know, I've got this, hey, if I get the R6H, well, somebody's helping me set this up. That looks pretty sweet. I can be running 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, but doesn't look like it. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here. And, you know, maybe doink something somewhere else. But that's a pretty good run with the R6H. So I want to get that, but I want to get it quickly as possible. So this is where the trick comes in. So if I pay out, I have 198 bucks. Call it 200. 325 and 15 puts it to 340. I'll be getting 30 for my run. So I'm going to want to release a share, the share I just bought, but I make money off of doing this. I want to release that share, but I don't have enough money, I think, for the 20 bucks here. I'll do the calculation right afterwards and see what's going on there. Yeah, I had to do the calculation all ahead of time, but I don't mind, hey, if I've got the cash left. So now, if I sell this share back, it's 198 bucks. That gets me, I got the 20 bucks left. So I am going to lay that track because that's going to make life just a little bit faster, I think, towards getting where I wants to get. Now, you know, it would be great if I could hit another place on the way like here or something, but I'm not set up for it. Screw it. Right? And I released my share, and I have the cash, but I'm not allowed to buy the train yet. And boy, I hope nobody steals both of them. There's not enough room for it to happen, so I can't let It's the kind of trap that you have to look for all the time in this game, I feel. That you just can't. Anything you're planning for, there seems to be a potential for it to just go awry, and you have to look and see. Because Lily Bio could very easily pick up both of them cash-wise. And that would be great, but I don't have room for two of them. Meaty ends up running itself, let me get a little dot here, for 59, and it's got a lot of extra train. I'm basically running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You know, I would have liked to have shot down here, but then that doesn't work things out right. Quick hook here, I got the money for it, but it wouldn't do it. I'd have to build once and then twice. I might be able to break in this way, and that actually becomes kind of interesting, because then if I'm shooting here, I'd be looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 run, which might be the best I can do because this is so valuable. And then, of course, I mean, I've got 3 more that I could come out of. Presumably 1, 2, 3, but I'm not hitting a lot of cities. I'm just hitting the one huge one. So I don't know if that's worth fighting to try to do. However, right now, the big money is just keep improving Messina. And things may change significantly, right? Look at the piles of money that are showing up after just 2 operating rounds. We got another one with that 59 run and the other biggish runs. In fact, the Lily Bio has just gotten bigger. And that's going to get bigger very shortly. So, although that won't add to my cash. So there's going to be 2 more companies starting. that seems pretty clear to me. Well, I don't know. I mean, I got to give up a lot of good shares to get another company started because of the limit on the certificates. So yeah, I'm not sure. The fact that I don't know what this is, Catania, is open and Messina is upgraded. I was able to eke out to 32 there. Built some track because it's likely, it looks to me like I'm gonna be getting the Garibaldi, assuming he buys a company. If not, that's okay. This track might be helpful to that too. And nothing I can do to help myself. Picked up my R6H and forgot to move my token forward for running at 32. Opening this thing up to here actually gets them up to 51 a share. And again, you know, I'm getting piles of money too, but not enough to start a company. 2, 3, 4, 500. Remember, I gotta be able to spend 1100 because the R6Hs are gone. But out of it all, I may get the best of the companies. The one that's having to be left open right now, which is making things good for them for a little bit. Not terribly good, but a couple extra bucks. Extra trainer, no. I'm having a hard time finding anywhere where I can get more money with the Archimede. I need that 11 run to make it all the way out to here. And which is the 16, and then that doesn't really have anywhere I could go. If I could cut into here, that would be great, but it's not trivial to do that. And I may just be helping other people if I'm doing that. Because let's look at the possible 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 possibly. But then 13, 14, 15, 16, I'm just not going to be able to blast my way through. I don't know that I want to build track. I'm having real trouble seeing anything that works. There's not going to be anything that sends me a third direction here, which could conceivably do something, maybe? I don't know. I could add here, but with some hopes of moving on, but I don't have a lot of money left. 160, 80, and 80, that would be 320 to get into there at all. And again, I don't know that that helps me. Because what I'd be doing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I'd be giving up this 40 for that. Now, that isn't necessarily horrible, but it's also seems like a lot of work. What am I going to do with my money? I don't know, but I might have another company. I might want to shift trains around. I'm going to leave the cash there and just make that big 59 run. Just the stock round. These guys flipping over, they're all just ones, so I can do it. If they were counters, I could do it no matter how many there were in one space. But these little wooden things, I mean, they're nice, but they only really interfere because of the camera. So, lots and lots of cash. Catching up. If nobody buys a company, I think the game's over. This set of operating rounds. And that may actually be to his favor. If companies are bought, neat stuff starts happening because you're basically putting that $1,100 and maybe, well, no, because the money that goes into the companies comes out of there too. So, so yeah, you're basically putting that $1,100 back in for each company that gets started. So that's a big hefty quantity. I need to run this out longer to make the bigger money off my company than Pink is going to get. Now Pink's going to, Pink's going to make a decent amount here, and I bet you these. So this goes up, 16, but then it goes up 20, and this goes up 22, and then it goes up 12. Wow, I forgot that the stock chart on this is kind of skewed. Usually you move to the right and everything just gets big, but those shifts up are shitty and the shifts to the right are good. So once we're here, we're looking at 27. Yeah, I think we're going to gain more cash per space we grow with the Pink, and it's probably going to make up for the advantage that he's got. So I don't know, it's almost a, geez, maybe I ought to just let this sit rather than start that new company. And of course, if he starts a new company, I can buy up the shares he sells. I'm clearly behind. That's the problem. But do I gain much by starting that new company? Well, it depends on what the company is. It's this one, and I'll be giving him the Archimedes. What will the Archimedes be able to do? Decent amount, I fear. It right now has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 run. Probably can't improve on that. Is that the best run it has? Well, it could slash the hell out of the Lily bio here, just like before. But they're invested here. And that would be a horrible place to be because mine would be even more limited. Put myself here, that looks horrible. Put myself way out here. That might be cool, because I might get the Palermo through. I'd have a big train, but not an electric train. So I'd want to be doing something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which sounds fantastic. But this is going to get cut eventually. And it's going to take a lot of track lays to build that out and a lot of money. And so I think my company here is the better option. So I think I am going to go ahead with the company, but it's a hard call. I don't think I have a chance if I don't. And I don't think I have a chance if I do, but it might be better. Then the question becomes, how much do I need to have for money? And if I'm not spending money on track, which is a big if, we're looking at $1,100. And the highest I can start something at is 216, which means it would take me 5 shares to get the $1,100, but it's not $1,100. Here we come again, as somebody put it, vampire companies, because it's just so obnoxious. So we're looking at the Sicilia, the best of them. So it's actually $1,230 I need. So let's change that. Divide it by 216. I think that means I need 6 of them, yeah. Yeah, unless I'm willing to just pay some out of pocket, which might be worth it. There's probably a lot out of pocket, though. 5 times 216 is 1,080. Not bad if I didn't have to buy for the token. The extra couple $100 sounds ugly to me, so let's say I gotta buy 60%. 60% means I'm gonna be using 5 certificates. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means everything else has to go. I want to just buy 4 of those 6 shares right off the bat, and that throws $864 into there. Starts the company. We'll see. The Garibaldi, if I want to start it, why not? 5 shares. We need that. 1,080. $20 short. I can pay that out of pocket. And $40 for the tokens. Again, I can pay that out of pocket. That's less than $100. That seems worth more than losing a share of something that's good. Do I want it, though? That's the big question. I don't know. I mean, it's 16 run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is right now the best I'm going to do, which is a 7, 16, 17, 18, 26, 35. So, I mean, I get 1 extra certificate, but I'm getting rid of extra certificates to do it. So I think I am not interested. The question is, am I interested in buying up other stuff? So I can't tell which is going to make more. Looks to me like the Lilly Bio is getting that 51. It might increase a little bit. What is mine going to add? 13, 14, 15, 19, 21, I believe. 53. Mine are better. I have room to get rid of a Lilly Bio. It's not going to move it down in the order and pick up one of my own because I think my own are better. This is where we end up. He gets his company started, has, I hope, enough money. 2, 3, 6, 1,100 plus enough to buy. I forgot to buy the tokens. He was the 130, right? That's why there's so much cash on there. Yeah. Did not pay for those yet. But yeah. So he's got his corporation started. Lilly Bio bought up as much as I could of that. Had to buy a pink just to ensure my value. And that means I passed priority all the way over here. Which probably doesn't matter. I don't think he wants to start a company. Although, maybe that changes if he's offered this one. You know? No, it doesn't really look like it's all... If I can get the dot in Messina and everything. But, you know, honestly, I'm kind of happy with where things are. Just in terms of that heavy investment. So, we're not seeing as many companies and as we might. And we push out to here. And it's time for me to go to bed. Flip a little bit more of this in. I'm due for my cootie shot today, so I don't know. I assume I'll feel fine. It's my first dose of one of the multi-dose ones. And we open up with the newest of companies with the cash for the train, etc. He won't be going first again anytime soon. Cash for the train. An attempt to dig through here is plausible, but I don't have the cash yet. I have 50% of my company, or 40% of my company in the treasury, though. I'm going to be making some pretty good money. So it's possible that I might open up that route. Right now, my route is running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which doesn't look too bad. That's going to be a good amount of money. And that's why the company was worth starting. Here's the questions. Do I slice the living shit out of the Lilly Bio by using one of my dots? It doesn't have a dot. Garibaldi could start there, but it's a dumb place to start. So I'm not counting on that. I'm going to actually withhold playing my dot there. It's the only place I can play one that's of any value right now. But other than the fact that this guy's got 20% of the Lilly Bio, I'm not that concerned about it, and well, I can't put a dot here. Let's see where I'm likely to want my dot. I might want one there. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna be needing a dot anywhere else except here. So let's do it. And that really sucks for this poor guy, because now he's got he's got cash, he can dig his way out. But yeah, it's not a good situation. It's not a good situation is my run was designed this way, not coming out of here, which changes the branching. I either choose this 30 bucks or this 40 bucks. Obviously I have to make the upgrade, but, and you know, on the bright side, yes, my 6RH or R6H is still running over there now, and that's part of what got me good runs. But on the other side, now if I don't hook this up, what do I get? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I'm only running a 10. I'm not going to be getting too far down the coast there, so I think the branching is probably the best. We took a little bit of a drop in the money. We're still hitting the port here at the end, which means we basically just lost those 30 bucks. And I'm not sure that there's any likelihood that this is going to ever improve. I'm running a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 to here. It would be 8 here. I've only got a 10. So, I mean, it's just not going to go very far. Another possibility would be, if we're talking a 7, well, so this one would be to here. So we're looking at 8, 9. I could go 10 and get, you know, maybe a 20 buck run. I could maybe improve over this by $1. That's what we're looking at. I'm not going to be getting down here, and I don't know. I mean, I'm already running this track, so there's not much advantage to it anyway. All right, on to our pinkas. And the yellows, or I forgot to do, but then did. Bought one of their 2 shares that are outstanding. That'll just help them fuel any growth that they have. Someone might end up buying them back out, but I think it's important to cycle things back in the company when you have the cash to do so. And pink ran they got their big run finally, 53. That can get cut, and there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about it. One of the reasons I don't want the new companies coming out, is purple is going to cut my route pretty heavily. The Garibaldi doesn't necessarily cut it, but it helps implement a possible cut down here, which right now there's only 1 token left, which will likely go there. So, you know, I'm best off with what I've got. I'm making better money off of it this round, and I see no reason, you know, to turn in 20% shares in order to get 120% share from a new company. For him, it was a somewhat different situation. He wasn't discarding a good share, I don't think. I think, God, I'm a bad person. Okay. And that gets us to our last one, which is the Archimedes. Of me, I can't get that 59 that I have marked here. I think I cheated by $1 because the run's pretty much the same. It's going to improve. I'm actually branching out here. I'm going to be able to do something. Not quite sure what. And I should have enough money for the narrow gauge that I have to pay double for, but, you know, I've got a lot of extra movement points. So I should be able to eke out just a little bit more money than that. But, yeah. And there's nothing exciting anymore, you know, until the stock round and a new company comes out. Well, this company might start ending up doing some stuff, if they ever get their money, that'll increase their wages, and we get to see what their run with a single 16H train is. But that's the thing. I gave up shares that have 2 trains on them each to start this company. That is maybe not a wise move, except for the simple fact that I was making the calculation, and I was making the calculation that, yeah, it might not be the best move, but it's the only way that I could catch him, right? But you always have to temper that by, am I going to lose a position in the play? Do I, you know, would it be worth falling to last place or third place in this, you know, out of 5 with 2 knocked out or whatever? But would I be falling a position by taking this move that I don't think is going to get me from second to first, and might well get me from second down to third? Now, in this case, I think that's too big a hit. I think he's just way behind. But then there's also another way of looking at it, which is just absolute value. If I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose money off the decision, why risk it? You know, and I think I am losing money. I think not enough to lose a place. But also I'm exploring the game, which is another aspect of it, right? If I knew the game really well and was certain, but I'm not. That ends the round with that 58 paying out, of course, and damn it. This is so hard because of these blocks. Yeah, I mean, you just look at the piles of cash and you look at the stock values, and you can pretty easily say, you know what, he's just not going to make it. It's just not. This differentiation isn't enough. And overall, he may have lost some ground. I got to go get my cooties shot now. I should be back and playing some today, unless I feel horrible from it. End of the second operating round, I just ran through it because there wasn't a lot of difference. The big change, number of companies working to hook that sucker up, that helps obviously the Archimedes, but it actually is good for the Lily Bio and possibly for the, well, definitely for that, at least for the short term. The problem is if this company comes out, it cuts it. However, I'm beginning to debate whether or not there's enough money in the bank to last through the next operating round. It's going to be close. Remember, these are not there. They're 500s that are just not in the line. So we're throwing quite a bit of cash out here. 58, 111, 159, 189, which means I'm putting a somewhere, you know, around $1,800 into the players' pockets each turn. But some of that isn't going. This money isn't getting transferred, so there's 3 shares of a fairly high producer that aren't going. And companies are spending money on building track. We're not going to see the big influxes, though, from like the train purchases. So I don't know what's going on. But there is a fair chance that it breaks right now, and that really we never brought out this company, and this one didn't get its rebirth. If that's, is that right? No, I think the Garibaldi came out. So yeah, these 2 companies didn't get their rebirths. Is basically, this was the one that didn't come out for so long. Yeah. Which it probably meant no matter what, is this guy made a mistake. He'd be better off holding shares. I mean, he's got the least producing company, right? And he probably does for the whole game. Not quite sure what positive outcome could have come from exchanging those shares. Now, I don't think I gave up a 20% share. So, you know, yes, I'm gaining a share in terms of how much the holdings are. And they're very, very tight because in this 3-player game, we're playing with 5-player certificate limits, for good or ill. Okay. And, you know, you get used to it, I guess. But Lily Bio wants to connect these up, as does everyone else. What do I do? Well, I hope that it can be done. I'm assuming it can, but this is not a trivial thing, because remember, there's only one of each of these town spaces. So maybe I fucked up, and if I did, we'll let somebody else screw it up. If somebody wants to pay money, they can screw build the connection completely. But I can't build directly to, so I got to build a little curve in there and hope that, you know, I can get regular gauge track to connect up to that and everything. Ugh, just painful. And honestly, this is actually kind of nice track for the Archimedes, because they have a possible desire to use this track instead of that track, and maybe other people do too, so it might be possible to hook this up as well. Lily Bio is just being nice to build that track. They probably shouldn't have. Probably should have built something a little different, but they don't care. They're not gonna be in this. Every time I say Lily Bio or Lily Biome or whatever, because of the Punic Wars. For whatever reason, I think associate that more with pink, not with the yellow that the company actually has. I don't know if maybe the Rome versus Carthage game that Berg designed uses pink counters. I think it's more purple for, but there may be some pink counters for something associated with Carthage. I don't know, but anyway, or maybe in the Sword of Rome or whatever. Something's clicking with me that really should be pink, but maybe it's just the name sounds very pink. And the hookup to the Seatown is completed. That gives the Central a run of 36. And you can see, I'm out of hundreds. I'm down to the 25s. I think we're going to make it, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, these get eaten up pretty quickly. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Yeah, we're going to make it. Because we're looking at about a $600 run. It's gonna deplete the bank heavily though. Well, that was with the 58 run. We added 10 to the run with this new track, and can actually add more than that. I think. Hold on, that's 10 to the run without spending $80. So we get 20 to the run to upgrade this. I think that's the only one I can upgrade that's useful to me. I'm out of these pieces. I'd wanted to crash things. I wouldn't have built this extra. It wouldn't have ended up mattering. All the cash is paid out, and we still have 25s left. I mean, you know, there's a couple $100 left in there. But boy, that was a fairly close one. I've seen much closer, obviously, but. All right, that means into the stock round, 69 run, eh? Seems to me this chart doesn't go far enough. All right. Nothing interesting happens in the stock round. This guy doesn't want to extend the game any further. He's like, I'm winning, leave me alone, just let me win. That's his assumption, at least. No more certificates. I could have thrown one of my shares, I guess, if I was trying to be clever and bought. You know, I think I would have done that. When this guy got his 20% certificate, so there was a 10, and I should have done it, but I didn't. Fuck it, I'm leaving it alone. There was a 10 and a 20 in here. This guy bought the 10% certificate. That exposes the 20. That would be a better purchase for him. And then he's kind of stuck buying the Sicilian line. But I just neglected to notice that, and fuck it. If I end up losing by about $100, that might have been it. You know? Most of the companies can move forward as normal. The only iffy one, this guy has a 36. Yeah, he can move forward. So everybody's, as long as their runs don't get disrupted, and there's nothing that I see that will, everybody's run is capable, everybody's company is capable of reaching that 377 box. Now, obviously, it's not going to be everybody who can. Let's, Archimedes and Acrogas are both sold out. This one may actually reach it. Probably will. And that's just additional value for that. And whatever. All right. So this is going to be the last set of operating rounds. Let me look at the end of game rules for this, because I don't remember what they are. You know, it's something that comes up once per game. You read the rules, and it's literally the last thing you do, basically. So when a stock reaches 377, the game ends immediately, if I recall correctly. You complete the operating rounds if it runs out of money, unless the 377 happens. But Yeah, so the 377 is absolutely immediately, which means we're going to actually be going 2 rounds and one company, and that's it, which is yet another big bonus for those pink shares. And we're coming to like $300-400 at this point, I think. Right. So I ended up with an orange, which is going to be worth an increase of 55 in share value, whereas this is going to be worth 111. That's in share value alone. 111, and well, that's per share, right? I have an additional share too. So if I was just swapping 1 for 1, that would be fine. But swapping 1 for 2, yeah, it's going to be around $400 or $500 difference. But I don't think the game's that close. I just don't think that game's that close. And late in the game, people fuck up. They go on autopilot and whatever, and the hell with it. Even the one company that wasn't participating in building out this track ends up using it and getting $3 more a share off of it. I paid out my money for that at the 56, but you know what? I know that the bank is going to break, and if the bank doesn't break, more likely the game is going to actually end before. Well, the bank is going to break before the pink reaches that level, but it doesn't make a difference. The game is going to end when pink hits that level on the third operating round. So I'm going to just make life easier on myself and throw all the cash back in the bank, all these 500s in and everything, just so that I have easier change, so I don't have to deal with all this shit. This is just a couple $100 in here. This may be different for different people, but for me, those big piles didn't make it quite as clear. But we're talking about, twice as much money in cash, right? Stock value about the same because the certificate limit. But there's just no way that he's going to be able to make it up. I'll finish it up just to get final tallies because it's not that hard. But yeah, there is really nothing that can shake this game up enough to. There wasn't ever, but anyway, onward. And at this point in the game, I'm basically doing what could be completely spreadsheeted out. Nobody's doing anything to improve any track. There's some room around the edges, like this could probably be cheaply improved by either pink or yellow. It's just not going to make a difference, though. Pink can't do it. Yellow's got this extra cash. They could be upgrading it, but I'm just not thinking about it. It's I don't know. It would end up adding just a few bucks to both of them. And mainly I'm just playing this out for the simple factor of seeing what the totals look like at the end, rather than just calling it and saying, yep, that's it. I figure we're close enough in the tail part that it's just worth. There are games that just say once you hit a certain point, like once the bank is broken or something, or once you hit the last round, what's known to be the last round, some of the Lonnie games do this, you're not allowed to lay tokens or track changes or anything like that. I don't think that's really reasonable because a lot of times buying that big last train opens up certain opportunities for you. If the game were to go on, this would end up in the same realm as other companies because nobody's got shares of it because of the certificate limits. I'm always a little iffy about certificate limits to begin with. Like, they're kind of a catch-up feature more than anything else. They allow you to, hey, if you've got some capability to make your good-running company beat the other guy, well, the other guy hasn't been scooping up ridiculous numbers of shares with his piles of excess cash. And Yeah, it ends up making the game more exciting. It ends up making multiple strategies work, for example, and stuff like that. But it feels a little gamey to me. All right, last round. Forget that the last round is just one company running, and that's the end of the game. Let me spreadsheet this out and take a quick look at what the totals are. And it's pretty much a blowout, as to be expected. It actually turned out more of a blowout than I thought. With this guy's cash on hand being worth more than the stock value of anyone. And, this is about 50-50 here. Anyway, a $3,000 difference between the first and second place player, and second and third were a lot closer than I thought. I don't remember this guy taking that kind of hit. It felt to me like he was playing along just fine, and I'm having a hard time seeing what what made this so much better. It certainly was not my expectation. Now, when I started seeing those piles of money, I'm like, oh, this is definitely a blowout. But I assumed stock value would kind of even that out a little bit somehow, even though this guy has more stock value. But whatever. Would it smooth it out, not even it out? But yeah, it's a hell of a difference. My biggest, I was really, really grumpy. And every time I play this, where that first turn, sort of that start of the game, there's this front-loaded danger. Later in the game, there's lots of danger too, and we saw, it might have fallen out that the guy who was screwed real early could have maybe fallen into a good situation. A lot of it feels, because of the complexity of the interactions, feels kind of random, to tell you the truth. Now, I don't mind that at all. Because that means there's a lot if it's feeling random to me, that means that there's a lot for me to learn and to judge. The calculation side of it, though, the fact that nearly every turn, it feels like nearly every operating round, I feel like I have to make some kind of major decision. Because there's almost always trains coming up that the trains are just falling pretty fast. And so I have that big decision on almost all the companies. Do I need the money next operating round? Because if I need it this operating round, it's too late and I'm fucked. And I take a major hit for it. Possibly a game-ending hit. Because if I can't raise the money, for the company, and I can't swap trains or something like that, and there aren't a lot of corporations in this game, you might end up just sitting, just knocked on your ass, or just knocked out completely. Saw a different track here than in other ones. This didn't get built out. Instead, we had this kind of nice scoop that I've been dreaming about in the other games, but nobody was willing to build it. Well, in this case, it helped everyone. So 3 of the 4 companies were working towards it. And the other one had no cash, so they couldn't have worked towards it really, and they certainly couldn't prevent it. Without taking a major hit. And no great harm there. Nice big run here of 69. Not the first time I've seen the earnings per share chart be superseded. Now, I think it's easier to exceed that with the electric trains. I really don't know what to say, because the optional rolls provide you with a pressure valve to get you out of some of the problems with the later trains, but they don't help you with that sort of early did I fuck up the game completely situation. Like, if you're knocked out for a couple of operating rounds early and you're holding shares that make you no money, that is a problem. And that is a problem you can't resolve very easily. That could be miscalculation. It could be a trust situation where you look at something and say, it's not in their best interest to screw me. Or it could be just, I think it could actually happen through randomness. But I have the feeling that if you project carefully enough and work hard enough. Now, one person mentioned that I may have I started all my companies at 100. So the goal here was get the most cash in the companies that I can get so that they have a chance of starting on that first round. And I think the particular bids that I had in and whatever made the 68 option not produce enough cash up front, like maybe a few bucks more, but you really want to get an improvement to go with that, because you can probably float that extra cash into the company later on. The danger, of course, is there's just a lot. There's just a lot that is problematic, because since there's no par value, you're not able to guarantee that setting the initial value at 100 is going to get you extra money. If the company kind of falls on its face, it could well end up producing less money than one that started, producing less money per share when people buy shares out of the company than one that started at 68. And so there's no guarantee that starting it at 100 is going to get you more cash later in the game. There's also no guarantee it's going to get you less, though. So, I don't feel like that 100 choice hurt me in any particular case. It's hard to tell. But again, it's all front loaded, right? So your decisions on your initial company and how much cash you can put into your initial company are so heavily based on your decisions as to what your bids were on your privates. And I randomize my private bids to some extent. And I feel like that's generally correct for opposed play in an 18xx game. Not that you're randomized, but that you don't know what you're going to pay. I walked into only one game of 1830 where there was an absolute, this is the price that we must pay. This was the famous collusion game. This is the price that we must pay in order to get this to work right. And we cannot go higher, and we might as well make that bid right off the bat. And basically we had it completely calculated out, and then an opportunity arose and it all got thrown out the window and everything turned chaotic, and all that collusion kind of didn't work, although we did get the hit New York twice through the D&H with everything set up there that we were trying to get built. It was sort of the dream track that maybe in a 4-player game you could manage, but we wanted to try it in a 6. We wanted to try it with collusion, and it was kind of cheating, but because we didn't discuss it at the table. We discussed it before the game of, let's walk in there on the next game and do this. And we're not talking about like, we're going to play 1830 and, we had a chat on the way over or something. This was something we had discussed over a period of weeks, and then finally, hey, there's an 1830 game we're going to play. Great, let's do it. Let's do our plan. And we had it all written out and planned and plotted and everything. It kind of got blown away because we got something for cheaper than we expected. Anyhow, I'm going to send this up and come back with a review. Obviously, my feelings towards the game have mellowed a bit in terms of that front-loaded risk really had a hair up my ass. I think it will every fucking time I play it, though. I really do. I think that is a real flaw, and then I get sucked into enjoying the rest of the game and the chaotic nature and destructive nature that it provides. But I think front loading so much risk is one of the big flaws on this one.